Brill. So hi and hello and a very warm welcome to everybody. Thank you very much for taking the time to come and join us today in our leadership webinar with our main focus today of looking at that concept of being September ready. So before I hand things over to our spotlight speaker, Josh from Silverwood School, I'd just like to take a couple of minutes just to share some new exciting developments that we have here at Iris Connect. So as you know, time is very precious in education, and that's something that we work very hard to try and give you as best we can. We believe that AI should enhance, not replace our thinking when it comes to professional development. And that's why we've introduced over the last year or so, two very powerful new features for the Iris Connect platform. They are AI enhanced insights and AI powered pathways. These tools are designed to support your CPD by simplifying and automating the lesson analysis, helping you focus more time on what matters, improving teaching, ultimately with the outcome of improving the outcome for your students that are in your care. Some of you have had access to these tools because we launched them last summer. Now we've added some more ready-made AI insights onto our platform, and these align with the core teaching strategies that are out there. To ensure that everyone can benefit from this initiative, Iris Connect is rolling out a free starter AI package for all our customers. Now, this is the first time that we've communicated this. There will be an official communique that goes out through our marketing team next week, but I wanted to give you the sort of heads up of like what's coming. This ability will give you hands-on access to many of the AI features, and so then you can go and explore the potential of AI within your CPD model for yourself. In addition to that, for those people that actually have already purchased and already have the enhanced AI package, so that's now being deemed as not the AI package, but now the enhanced AI package. There are some additional benefits to that, not only just the higher number of AI credits, which enables a sort of like regular higher volume of AI use, but it also gives you the possibility to create customized, flexible AI insights that are tailored to your context. So you can put your material onto the AI insight. So it'll be looking as if it was your school, looking at so your school with your material, looking through those things to make that analysis more relevant and infinite and ultimately more powerful. Rather than just talk about it, I've got a very, very short little video to share with you. And then after that, I'll be able to hand on to someone that knows what they're talking about, our spotlight speaker, Josh. So without further ado, I'll just play a quick video.
AI Insights. Get objective, in-depth lesson insights within seconds. First, choose the lens through which you'd like to reflect on your lesson. For example, questioning or Rosenshine's principles. Second, select your lesson recording. Third, let the magic happen. After just a few seconds, you'll be presented with an in-depth report for your lesson, with objective, non-judgmental observations and recommendations for you to consider. Included timestamps highlight precisely the section of the lesson that the feedback relates to. You can then add your own time-stamped comments to the recording to represent your thinking process. Share the lesson with a coach or colleague for further discussion, or follow one of our adaptive pathways that guide you step by step through the relevant teaching theory and skills to help you reach your development goals. Spend less time wondering what to develop and more time developing. Get in touch to see AI Insights live and in action.
Brill. So thank you very much for your time. And now I'm delighted to hand over to Josh, one of your peers and our spotlight speaker today. Over to you, Josh, from Silverwood.
Thanks, Ted. Thank you. I'm going to hopefully be able to do this. And hopefully you can see that screen. Can you see that okay? Yeah, brilliant. I'm going to go from the beginning. Happy days. All good? Can you see that? Amazing. Okay, I'm going to swatch this over so I can see everybody. There we go. Cool. Can you still see my screen?
Yep, we're all good.
Yeah, good. Amazing. So thank you, everybody. Thanks for coming. It's always really cool to be invited to do these sorts of things. And sort of been working with Iris for a few years now. And it's a real pleasure to sort of go from one school where we built up a really good system to move to a new school now where I started in September, and we're kind of at the beginning of the process. So I've kind of been there where it's been quite well embedded, and now I'm at a new school, new setting where actually we're at the beginning again, and we're going to try and implement things and try and do things differently, but learn from what I've done previously as well. So this is me. I'm assistant head at a special school in Wiltshire. We have around 500 pupils at my school now, so we're one of the biggest in the country. And I lead on teaching and learning, I lead on CPD, and I lead on behaviour as well. So just a small role for me. But what I love about Iris Connect, I think more than anything, is, especially in these sorts of environments, is more often than not, you have to see it to believe it. You know, our children are capable of doing amazing things. And so to be able to capture that with video and share it with staff is a really powerful way of creating a highly expert workforce. So before I start, we're talking about September Ready. I think one of the best things you can do to get September Ready is have a look at the resources that I've already made. A bit of shameless self-promotion there. But there's a real need for this sort of stuff in mainstream schools, special schools, no matter where you are. I think there's a real need for expert advice on supporting pupils that have got extra needs, additional needs. And there's 4 groups on the Iris Connect platform, one of which looks at those foundational practices, the things that we do at the core of everything. You know, every classroom has these set things in place, and then from there we can build up that bespoke offer for our young people. But alongside that, there's 3 other groups which look at sort of that highly focused work around autism and how we can actually create an environment that enables them to succeed and enables them to have the resources, have the right quality teaching at all times as well. So I recommend you go and have a look at those groups if you haven't already. It genuinely blows my mind the amount of people that are in these groups, and it's just quite humbling, really. Like even today, I think a school from Holland joined it. So we are, you know, we're spreading wide with this, which is really exciting. But there's also 2 blogs that have been written for Iris Connect as well. So I'd advise you to have a look at those as well. They capture those 2 groups quite nicely. But for those of you that aren't on the platform yet, or that have people that aren't on the platform you'd like to share it with, it's quite a nice little overview there as well. So yeah, do take a look at those. And the main aims of like this session are just to kind of give you an overview of some proactive strategies that you can use when it comes to implementing Iris Connect, and sort of some of the things that I've done previously and I'm currently doing that work well, some of the things that I might have done differently as well. Also, guidance for established leaders and guidance for those that are new to the platform as well. I appreciate there's going to be a range of experience here and a range of people that have done different things with the platform. And also at the end, there will be time to stop and ask questions, and we'll have a really nice discussion, hopefully, and a nice QAR. So yeah, here we go. So there's lots of things to do in terms of getting ready for September. And, you know, as the years roll on, they come by quicker and quicker. But I think it's good to have a little checklist in place and a good opportunity just to pause, reflect, and just to see what needs to be done in terms of, that September preparation, but also what's been achieved that previous year as well. So the implementation plan, that's kind of your golden thread, really. That's what runs through everything that you do using Iris Connect. But it's more than that. It's about how you're going to use it. How are you going to actually put that in place, and how are you going to use Iris to support your plans? I'm going to go into a bit more detail in that in a short while, so I won't dwell on it too long. But the next thing on your checklist has to be that leadership pathway. So on your page, you've got that leadership pathway, and it's got that kind of 3-year breakdown. But do check in with that. Do look at it and make sure you've updated it. Make sure that you have, you've hit those action steps that you want to be hitting. Make sure that you are having those regular check-ins with your Iris Connect link, because those guys are brilliant. But it's also a good chance to make sure that you're accountable, but also they're accountable as well. You've got this plan in place. How are you going to get there? Who's responsible for what? Just a really useful thing just to touch base with every now and then, just to make sure that everything is in order. The next thing is new users. So I think we're all guilty of this. We get a bit complacent with things, and someone new joins the school. I'm sure, like this place, there's quite a big turnover of staff, and growth as well. So there's often new people joining. It's just making sure that those new people are added to the platform. We don't want people to be missing out on really good opportunities to learn and grow, but also making sure that you, as the admin of this group and your school, that you are actually admin assigning people to different groups as well. For example, we got Iris Connected Silverwood in March, I believe it was. So I'm just slowly filtering it out to people. But every time I do, I admin assign them to the induction pathway so that it saves me the hassle of having to go and tell people how to use the kit. The pathway is there, so it's a really useful tool to use. And it also helps me track how much people are using the pathway as well and how far they've got into it. So I can see actually, yeah, that person is logged in, they're 80% of the way through. I feel pretty confident that they know what they're doing. But equally, I can identify people that haven't logged in yet or that are still on 0% of that pathway. And maybe those are the guys that I need to have a little touch base with and just to check in and see how things are going with Iris, really. And yeah, like I say, the induction pathway, it's a really powerful way of minimizing the stress on yourself, because I don't know, I think I'm probably guilty of this very much so, but I like to hold things. I'm a bit of a control freak, I guess, but it's important to be able to share that load, and the induction pathway does that for sure. And I think what it will also do, I'm hoping here certainly, is empower people to become those champions for Iris Connect as well. So I've got a little team of people that can then support the rollout of this when it comes to that that big launch in September. We run 3 campuses as well here, so that adds another layer of complexity. So again, things that are on the platform already there to support staff are really useful to touch base with every now and then, just to make sure that it's doing what you want it to do. And sort of on the back of that, it's that refresher training as well. So making sure that when you have that influx of new staff, or when someone leaves and you've got that gap, it's about making sure you touch base with your Iris Connect leads and making sure that they are available to deliver that training to staff, that refresher training. But also in the time I've worked with Iris Connect, it has sort of transformed and changed all the time. You know, Ted at the start's just shown some of the really cool stuff that we can do with AI now. It never sits still. So I think it's always worthwhile just doing that refresher training just to keep up to date with the latest stuff that it's doing. And then on to leavers. So people leave, and it's about making sure you've got that agreement with them about what happens with their data and with their reflections. So I know when I moved to the school in September, I was lucky enough to be able to bring some stuff with me. But it's about making sure that you've got that agreement with your staff. And like I said as well just now, some of your staff will be real champions and trailblazers for Iris Connect. And when they go, it leaves a gap. And it does leave a gap. So it's just about making sure that you have that succession planning in place as well. So a team around you or around those people is really important to make sure that the hard work that you're doing with it doesn't go to waste and doesn't get lost. It's just, always thinking ahead, thinking 2 steps ahead. And then finally, groups. I think groups are a really powerful way of capturing your school, capturing the work that you want to do and want to develop further. And again, I will touch on that a bit more in just a short while. But to start with, the implementation plan. So, one thing that I've really tried to do this year is make sure that Iris Connect is present on the SDP, making sure that it is woven into planning and make sure it's like quite a prominent feature on the website, on the SDP, and just making sure that when it comes to the SDP, it's not something that's an afterthought. We're actually proactively thinking about how we can squeeze Iris Connect into our thinking for next year. An example of that would be, we are looking at next year giving teachers extra CPD time within the school day. So a teacher might get an hour a week extra, or they might get a morning a term extra CPD time. But what we've done with that plan is we've said, actually, Iris Connect is one of the things that they can do in that time to support their own professional development. And here's a list of the things that you can do on the platform to then enhance your own development and become a better teacher. There's also making sure that it's manageable and realistic. I think we can all be guilty of planning these wonderful things that we think we can do, that we know, but schools are busy, schools are complex, and how often do we have these best laid plans, but things get in the way and the day-to-day stops us from achieving them? So yeah, just be mindful of what you can actually do within that year, and also be mindful and reflective about where your school currently is. You know, have you had people leave that were real experts with the equipment and the kit, or are you having to relaunch it and reboot it because those people have gone? Are you completely new to this, and actually would just getting everybody a login be a really good starting point? It might be. Or are you at a point where actually you can have different departments in your school having their own groups and pathways to work on and develop the practice within those areas of the school? It's up to you to sort of make those decisions and have those conversations with people. But yeah, just be mindful that it needs to be manageable. But yeah, link it to those school-wide development, that strategic thinking. That's a real key aspect of that, I think. Yeah, and as I sort of said, when it comes to writing an implementation plan, don't leave it just to yourself. Pull in other people. You know, you are the leads for Iris Connect, but you've got a team of people underneath you that you can use, and you can support you with this as well. So it might be that you've got a department structure where one person in each department is able to champion it. Myself, with my 3 campuses, I'm going to have a champion at each campus. They're going to be the people that staff can touch base with when there's any concerns, any issues, and they'll be able to manage that on the ground without me needing to be pulled here, there, and everywhere. So it's just, again, it's that succession planning, team around you, but also making sure that it's strategic in your thinking. We're going to touch on this next. So this is something that I've loved doing for years and years, and film clubs are really useful and powerful way of getting people to use the platform and to use Iris Connect. I've done it for years, like I say, and I've always planned it into my CPD cycle. So every term, at least once a term, there is a film club at school. And what we do in that session is we go around, you walk the school as a leader, you know where the best practice is, you know who your best teachers are. So go and tap them up, talk to them, say, actually, I really love what you're doing in that session. Would you mind if we could film that and share it at our film club? And you'll be amazed at how many people actually say, yeah, go on then, I don't mind doing that. And how it kind of runs is I do it slightly differently to the way the platform suggests you do it, but it's completely up to you. But I like to tie it to a piece of research or a piece of work, so then there's a real hook and a real focus to the session. One thing that I do quite a lot is use the stuff that Peps McRae brings out, the snacks stuff. That's a really short snippet of information that is really nice to read, and then we can tie in a video towards that. So it might be, let's say we've done a session on securing attention. So I would use a piece of work from Peps, or I'd make a PowerPoint and presentation, share it to the group. Okay, this is what happens when we secure attention. Now let's look at this practice. And we'd watch some video footage of a teacher who's particularly good at it. And then we would tend to pull out the what went wells and the EBIs. And it's just a chance for staff to see a window into different classrooms. My school currently, we go from 4 years old up to 19 years old, and we have a whole diverse range of needs within that. And what that brings is a unique opportunity to share different practice that people have perhaps never seen before. Like I say, the 3 campuses, the big site, and a whole new complexity of need that has arrived at my school. Film Club has been such a powerful and brilliant way of showing people how to teach the different levels of needs that we've got. And I firmly believe that the best way to get people to improve teaching and learning is to see it and to talk about it. So there is an amazing ripple effect with this film club model as well. So you would deliver a session, and then you'll be amazed at how many times at the end of the session, someone comes sort of walking up to you at the end and says, Josh, I'd be more than happy to do the next one. I think it'd be really good if people could see me doing this. Or, do you know what, we need a bit more of this. I'm happy to do that. I'll come and film my session, and then we can share it at the next one. So it's really, really good way of doing that. But also, I think to get it off the ground, what's really important is that you champion it and that you put yourself out there as well. So there are countless videos of me delivering really bad lessons, but it's a good talking point, but it also shows people that, you know, I'm not expecting you to do this. We're doing this together, and it really helps bring people on board, definitely. And also, yeah, just getting people to see good practice. I think it's a really nice way of allowing people that time, because, again, schools are busy, and the best will in the world, we could give people appraisal targets that say, go and watch so-and-so teach, go and spend some time in that school, go and do this and that. But the world is busy, schools are complex, and it doesn't always happen. So Film Club is a really good window into doing that, but also Iris Connect as a whole gives you that, you know, that whole plethora of options that are available to people. If you can get really good content on there, you can signpost people to the practice that you think will support them to develop and grow. Another thing that I do with Film Club is, again, that exposure and getting people to see it, is do it at inset days as well. And it takes some real brave people to stand up in front of 150 people, 200 people to have their lesson critiqued. But when you get the conditions right, it can be really effective and really powerful. And we did that. We've done that 3 times this year. And it's amazing the feedback you get from people. It's amazing how much they can learn from seeing other people do things and do things really well. So yeah, just use it, use it, use it. That's what I would suggest. And also think about your school priorities again, and think strategically about how you use Film Club. So for us, for example, there's a big piece of work around total communication and the use of visuals in the classroom. Appreciate that is a sort of a special school niche thing, but it's one thing that we're really working on. And to be able to use Film Club, to use footage of teachers doing it really effectively, having that real clear structure and how they do it, it's a really powerful way to show people, yeah, the best practice that we've got in our school. But also set the conditions for like improvement as well. So we'll do a session, but then I'll always ask them when we do another session, what did we do last time? What did you learn? What have you changed? And it really creates that accountability within staff as well. So it pulls them away from a one-stop shop or a little CPD circus that goes away and they'd learn nothing. They actually are accountable for, okay, you've seen that. What are you going to do differently? We'll come back next term and I'm going to ask you about how that's impacted your practice. And yeah, it really does confuse them sometimes when it's the first time, but it's definitely worth it. And by the end of the year, that cycle really works. They start to really, you see a difference when you walk the school. Again, you see people doing things that you've shared in Film Club, which is amazing. So the last thing I was going to show you is groups. Now, groups are a really good way of codifying what good practice looks like. And these are the things that I'm sort of currently working on at the moment at my school. These are all not live, but they're kind of being chipped away at in the background. So we have pathways at my school. We have an EYFS pathway, a semi-formal pathway, a pre-formal pathway, social communication pathway, and a formal and a post-16 pathway. But what I'm trying to do this year is, I think there's a gap in staff knowledge in terms of what happens in that pathway. So I teach in semi-formal, for example, but I have no idea what happens in a formal pathway because I've never had the opportunity to see that. So what I'm trying to do is create a bank of resources that are available to everybody that would enable them to see how to deliver sessions within that pathway and to see how to build those positive relationships, how to plan effectively, how to embed our school values effectively. And it's all geared around, it's all based around a teaching and learning framework that we developed together back in sort of November time. So there's a consistent message throughout the groups, and there's clear resources that signpost good practice, but also give support. And it's about, again, drawing on those middle leaders that can help develop and grow their own pathway, really, and develop the expertise within that. And I think what's really nice as well is being able to kind of pre-populate these. So when you are planning things, when you're trying to get things ready, it's really nice to have the finished product ready to go. Hence why it's only me in these at the moment, because they're not ready. But when they are ready, when they are launched, they'll look all polished, they'll look all clean, they'll look all tidy, and it just creates a better product, I think, to sell to people. It gets that buy-in much quicker. And groups are really easy to make. I can do it, which means they must be easy. But if you need any help, talk to your Iris Connect leads and your link people, and they will be able to support you with that. There's all sorts of little bits in the background that you do, but once you get a hang of it, it's really easy. Then you start to copy and paste bits over, and you start to create pages that look really quite effective and look quite professional, dare I say. And another thing to do with the groups, which again is a really good piece of practice, is training. So any training that we deliver, we film it, and then we put it in our training group. And what that does is that makes sure that people who potentially miss training because they're on another course or because they're off sick, they don't need to worry. It's all there and it's all available to them. And again, what it does, it shows us investing in the product. It shows us using it to a good effect. And it also shows that leaders champion it. You know, we're not shy. We're not shying away from standing in front of the camera and being filmed ourselves. It's a really good tool for doing that as well. A really good way of, again, developing that practice. And it links back to that idea of people having their own CPD time at my school. That is one of the key things for them to look at, and the other groups as well. Go and learn about this pathway. Go and look at that training session that you missed. Those sorts of things all just link back to that SDP and that strategic thinking. Another thing that you might want to explore, and it's not here, it's slightly off on a tangent, but is pathways and creating your own bespoke pathways. Then you can get that real focused stuff around your school frameworks and around the school development pieces that you work on that are familiar to people as well. So we've just developed a coaching model here. And what is really great is it's going to sit on Iris Connect. And so we're then able to have a clear space for them, but we're also able to have consistent questions available to people. So everybody's getting the same offer, everybody's getting the same approach. And it just ties everything together really nicely. And as a lead, because it's a pathway, you've got access to the admin metrics and you're able to see again, actually, these guys are going to have their session and they haven't managed to do it yet. I need to check in with them. Or you can see what we've done, which is really good. So Anna's great. We've managed to be able to pull out key bits from the pathways. So we're able to identify what teachers are focusing on and what actions they're going to be doing as a result of their observations. What that means now is that when we walk the school, we know what each teacher is working on, and we're able to just check in and just identify if they're actually doing it. There's loads of clever things that you can do, but within a pathway, it stays private, which again helps people, I think, feel more comfortable with the platform and using Iris Connect. So there's no one watching, there's no one, being able to have a sneaky peek at what is happening. It's all private to you. So again, that just helps. But we are able to put up little bits, but not everything, because that wouldn't feel right. And finally, one thing that I've also done this year, which has been really cool, I think, is we work with lots of agencies, and we are able to use those people to support Iris Connect as well. So, for example, we have a speech therapist that works with us very closely. I'm not on TikTok, but apparently she's a TikTok sensation, so I don't know. But she caught wind of this, and she was like, I need to get involved with this. So we gave her a Silverwood email address, and now she's able to do little snippets of training, and it will go on our training group as well. So just think cleverly about, what key messages you want to be delivering to people, and who is the people you want to be delivering it as well. And sometimes thinking outside the box. And one thing before I finish, which is kind of away from this, but so one thing that works really well in terms of exposure and championing it is just having it visible all the time. So like I say, filming training sessions, being willing and able to film yourself, but also just walk the corridors. So I keep my kit in my office, and Yeah, it's amazing when you walk up and down the corridors how much intrigue it promotes when people just see it, or if you've just got it sat on the table next to you when you're working, people come and visit you, people see you with it, and they just like to know a little bit more about it. So yeah, just make sure it's visible, make sure it's seen, and then you can really get off to a flyer, I think. Um, I think that's it from me. So yeah, I will stop there for any questions, and I will stop sharing my screen now. But thank you very much for listening, and hopefully that was useful.
So, Josh, we've had a couple of questions as we go, and maybe